you good?
Yeah.
You okay?
I've been great all day.
I mean, I don't know. You can stop talking about astral guide and we can actually get somewhere. If you found Andrea and Jeremie King, you are in for a treat. What we've discovered is that there's not that many people who coach as a couple.
Mhm.
And I think there's a really good reason for that, because it's hard.
We discover that every time we turn this camera on.
I think it's because it's hard. And I've been working with some other mom boss type people, and everybody's doing their own thing. And it's like, okay, I get this. If you're doing your own thing, you only have to deal with your own stuff. But we're building things together.
Yeah.
And because we're doing that, it means lots of weird shit comes up all the time.
Yeah. And it's not something that we see as a negative at all. In fact,
It's just adventures.
She and I are very strong-willed, creative, deeply intelligent people. And when we are zoned together, we both have a way of expressing and speaking and a way we would like things to go. And it's not because of ego or a determination that we're right. It's because of how long we've been independent. And that's the system that we have that's worked for us.
And we are both right. I think that's something that we work with and that's part of my philosophy on life is everybody's right. Everybody has their own ideas, opinions, and journeys. So for us to understand that we are both right and what we bring is valid is sometimes a challenge, because it doesn't mean that we have to diminish our own power and light. It just means that we have to put it on pause for a second so we can hear each other.
Yeah, and the trick is to add to that, it's what's right for us. What I've done my whole life has worked for me, therefore it's right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for her. And I look at the quality of the world that she's built before we met. She's right. The issue to bridge the common denominator in that is we both have so much in what we did that made it right for us that we can teach each other and learn from each other. Because that's the important step under the rug.
Yeah.
It's not so much how do we get two arrogant people that know they're right. That's not the issue at all.
No, it's honoring that we both bring a lot to the table, and sometimes we bring the same thing to the table and it's seasoned differently. So we have to put it on the same plate and learn to let those flavors mingle. And sometimes that alchemy is pure magic. And sometimes one of us has to take our thing back off the table. Yeah. So it's not a power struggle. It's an understanding, and it's an ongoing conversation and understanding of ourselves.
Yep.
So when we got together, we were already in the middle of our life journey. I was in my mid 40s and he was in his late 40s.
Is this close to 50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't really understand this, but all of our experiences up until then made us who we are. And we met and it was like, okay, we're going to do this. We had some ambition. We were like determined and devoted and said yes to it.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of what bravery, I think, just surrender. We were just like, whatever comes up, we're going to deal with it and it's going to be great.
I can speak for myself. Yeah. The juice behind my decisions was gratitude, because I know what my life was like before I met her, and anything less than what we have now is not acceptable. So the idea of moving forward into a space that I already know is amazing, to discover how much more amazing stuff is there, is all a big yes. But gratitude is the biggest one for me.
It is for me too. And from the beginning, we've talked openly about how we feel and when things come up. So communication has always been the foundation of our relationship. And you know, I heard this term power couple a long time ago, and I was like looking at what was considered a power couple, and I was trying to understand what it would take to be that. You know, how do you be part of a power couple? And I'm like, that sounds cool. Like you've really got a partnership, and you've really got an alignment, and I really wanted that, but I had no idea how much work that would be. But all the work is our own work.
Yep.
Ironically, because we mirror each other so much, but we also don't throw ourselves at each other. We acknowledge, like, wow, that's bringing this up in me, and we work through a lot of things.
Before the two of us met, for years, individually, before we even knew either of us existed, we were doing our own work. I was in men's groups. I was in all sorts of like stylized recovery groups. I was working on all of my shit, one step at a time, one sort of veil and one peel away at a time. So when we met, our first date, we call it the interview. And I've used this analogy over and over again, and it always makes us smile. It's the here's my shit, go fish. It's like, all right, I got an ex and 3 kids. You got any 4s? And off, we went.
You have 3 kids?
Oh, shoot.
No, he has 2. I'm pretty sure there's not a floating one around there, but yeah,
This part of my head talks faster than this part of my head.
Well, let's just, just for a moment, if someone knocked on our door and said, I'm your child, we would handle that. But I don't think that that's really likely, but you never know. So anyway, we agreed to love each other more than anything life can throw at us. And that's why this works. And we have business together, we live together, work together, play together, raise our kids together, we do too much together. So we have to make sure we have balance. Something that happened about I don't know, a year, 6 months ago now. When did I do this? I don't know. I started writing this book about 5 years ago, and it's called How to Be an Awesome Ex. I finished it and added and a Kickass Partner, because this is about relationships, and it's about completing your previous relationships before you create new ones, letting go of, doing your work on old relationships, softening the impact that your old relationships still hold over you, and also just all of the little things that come up in relationships. So my whole point of writing this book was a huge gratitude piece, because my ex of 10 years, who I was married to, is the father of my children, and this book is dedicated to him. He's a fantastic, amazing human being. And and I appreciate our journey together. We consciously separated, consciously divorced, and we still now consciously co-parent. And he's still part of our family. So
he's an amazing guy, and I'm really grateful that I've gotten to know him.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that,
let's not go there.
No. Trust me.
Okay, I trust you.
Along the way in our 4 years together, I've learned so many concepts about what relationships and mindsets around them could be. There's times I'd come back from a situation with my ex, and I'd be frustrated, and I'd come through the door and I'd be like, and then Andrea one day just says to me, well, you don't actually have to be. And I thought, that's right, I really don't. What do you know? I can control me. Because in all my men's work, the only thing you control is yourself. The other thing is, when she showed me the manuscript for this amazing book, I just smiled. I'm like, I'd never thought about that. And she shared with me all sorts of concepts about sometimes relationships are just the thing you're doing at the time. And it's not meant to be a boat that goes on together forever. Sometimes the boat goes, and that's how it is. And all this felt very natural to me. And then I read this, and I have the contrast between the relationship she has with her ex-husband and the relationship I have with my ex-wife. They are diametrically different, energetically and everything. And so this has been a really good way for me to look at my own mirror and go, how am I showing up? Because I pretty much I focus on making sure that I'm still a great dad to my 2 kids, and I love them dearly. And I've really isolated.
You're a great dad.
Thank you. And I've isolated the energy towards my ex, and I just sort of put her over there.
We put her in a a bubble of compassion, and we wish
Yeah.
her and care about her and want her to have a happy life, and it's not integrated with ours, and that's okay. So the whole point of this book is that you can't decide for other people what their relationship with you is.
Correct.
And you can't decide for them what their experience of you is. So if you have an ex that you are still in a difficult space around, this book is about softening the energy and emotion that you're holding, because it's only hurting you. Like, it's really not, they don't know what's going on. They're not thinking about you. They may have moved on, whatever they're doing. And whatever they're doing isn't your business. So that's the other piece. When you have an ex and you have kids, that you still have to interact with that ex, even though you have those interactions, their life is not your business. And as much as my ex and I get along great, his life is not my business. And I care about him, and I would be there for him if he needed anything. But in general, his life, whatever he's doing, it has nothing to do with me, other than our crossover with the kids.
Yeah,
So,
and for some of you who are in a more challenging situation where perhaps your ex is actively trying to put their footprint in the middle of your everyday life, the principle is still the same. And it's not to say anything's fair or unfair, right or wrong, because at the end of the day, all any of us can do is deal with our own response to things, to learn to stop reacting and to focus on the things that we can actually focus on.
yeah, relationships are about having a relationship with yourself first.
Yeah.
When you have a relationship with anyone else, they're just going to show you what you need to work on in yourself. So when you're looking at someone and saying, I don't like that thing about them, it's usually that you don't like that thing about yourself, but you don't really want to acknowledge that yet. And it's hard for a lot of people to hear that and take ownership that something they're doing is actually not creating harmony in the world. Like, it's like being called out.
So one of the things I'm really proud of in this book that you've written is whatever space you, me, are in, I learned a lot about how I even thought about relationships just by reading it. But some of the other part, like when you said adding the line and be a kick-ass partner, that means present tense. And so many people, including myself, I'll just speak for me, after my divorce, I knew that I was the common denominator to any relationship I have moving forward. And I was determined to exercise myself of the things that would attract the wrong thing. And that's a part of being a kick-ass partner, is that I've learned from my background on what it is that I no longer want in my life, nor what I want to create in someone else's life.
Yeah, that common denominator question, if you know somebody who's always talking about every guy I date or every woman I date is blah blah blah, or has this characteristic, and they're trying to blame that this keeps happening, and what they don't understand is that they're the one having that relationship over and over. So when you're being shown those things, it's to give you an opportunity to heal that part, whatever it is, so you don't have to keep having these difficult lessons with more and more people. You can heal that, let it go. And it takes being honest about it. Like, why is it that all of my partners cheat on me? And when you start questioning that, why do all of my partners cheat on me? There's usually a piece of a belief about yourself that you don't think you're good enough, or you're not worthy to have someone who's devoted to you. Whatever that little piece in yourself, you're attracting someone to show you that. And over and over again, until you acknowledge and heal that piece of yourself and realize you are worthy of someone who is completely right for you, whatever that means.
Yeah, because all of us believe that we attract what we think we deserve. And however much I could complain about other people that I've been in relationship with, whatever the question they had to the universe, the answer was me. So what does that say about me? So when it comes to ownership,
Yeah,
that's all we have.
One of the first things that I say in here that I think is hysterical because, I'm hilarious, is if you're picking up this book, thank you so much. By picking up this book, you are demonstrating something really awesome. You want to be an awesome ex, right? Or maybe you're feeling vindictive and considering giving this book to your ex so they can be awesome. Ha ha ha, that will not work. You can only change you.
Yeah.
The whole point of this book is about you changing yourself, changing your attitudes and emotions and beliefs about yourself and the way you interact, so you can clean up all of the crap that all of your past relationships have left in your life and be a kick-ass partner with who you're with now.
Yeah, and she's broken it down into 10 amazingly simple chapters. And this whole video series is going to be going chapter by chapter, so that you have something really substantial. When you buy your own copy and we play along on the home game, you've got this.
You can read along in your book. Should we make a little chime so you know when to turn the page?
How many people listening to us even know what an album is?
We're talking to ourselves here, I think. I think everybody that's listening is paying attention, knows what we're talking about. What was your favorite book that had the record that went with it?
It was drawn by Neil Adams, and it was The Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein.
What was the sound when you turn the page? You'll know it is time to turn the page when you hear. Was it?
Something like that.
Like a growl?
You can find it on YouTube.
Mine was a Star Wars book. So it said when you hear R2D2 beep like this, and then it would do the specific R2D2 beep. Anyway, that was a little tangent. The reason we're doing this is because we've learned a lot. We are here to help other people clear up the stuff that's keeping you from your joy.
Yeah.
So whatever that means to you, we're here to help with that. So while we are working on launching our amazing course and coaching programs, we wanted to just share our hearts with you and let you know who we are and see how nuts we are to do this together. Everybody I talked to is like, you guys are doing this together? Like, yeah. So we're fully aware that this is an unusual and I dare say power couple elevated relationship that we're in, because
they say a lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion. We're excited that you get a chance to get to know us through this whole set of videos.
Yeah.
Because there is no way you can fake chemistry.
You can.
You watch a movie like one of those Star Wars sequels with Padme and Anakin, and they're like getting along like it's awful. And that was another tangent. Yeah.
It's okay.
Bad chemistry.
Star Wars tangents.
Yeah. So
yeah.
You
know what it looks like.
We're excited that you get to know us, because we're going to tell stories about our own lives, and you can understand why we have so much gratitude, and we don't take for granted for a second what we have.
No, we don't.
It's not even possible at this point.
And we don't put off fixing things that come up. We just stop what we're doing and deal with it. And that has been one of the most challenging and wonderful things that we've learned to do. So.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us with this.
Yeah, thanks and welcome. And every chapter will be its own topic. So they will be nice, quick little videos. You can get an overview, grab your copy. There's an ebook and a print available. Links are in the comments. See you later.